What's up, my comic comrades? With Darkseid being the big bad behind the DC KO event and just one of the biggest villains in the entire DC universe, it's time to break down some of his most powerful moments. And let me tell you, he's had some insane feats of power. So let's just get right into it, starting off with an insane one coming from Batman Superman 24 by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. In the issue, the Kingdom Come Justice League and the Earth Zero Justice League have to team up against Darkseid. We see a very pissed off, terrifying looking Darkseid stare at the League members as the two Supermen say, "Darkseid senses something. We'll do what we can. The rest of you, run." As we see the two Supermen start attacking Darkseid so fast it looks like there's four of them. But the kicker is, Darkseid isn't moving. He's literally standing there in a resting pose, just tanking every single hit they're throwing at him. Kingdom Come Superman even uses his heat vision and it literally does nothing. Darkseid doesn't even budge. All he does is eventually say, "Two of you. Interesting," as he releases his Omega beams, which fries both of the Supermen. It electrified and hurt them so bad we see their skeletons. Both of them then fall to the floor like swatted flies as Darkseid literally steps on them as he's walking by. We then see him turn his eyes on the rest of the Justice League as the Flash tries to charge him with his super speed, but Darkseid just swats him away with ease as he tells Batman and the rest of the Justice League, "You appear to have something I desire. Relinquish it." He then proceeds to solo both the Kingdom Come and normal Justice League, taking out Shazam, who's on par with Superman with a single Omega Blast, just like he did to the Supermen. At this point, Kingdom Come, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern attack Darkseid at the same time, but as Darkseid sees them coming, he says, "The bloodthirsty Amazon and the night ablaze. Your careless ferocity makes fools of you, for war is a cold game," as he blocks each of their attacks simultaneously with nothing but his bare hands, crushing their blades in his hands, saying, "Colder yet is the grave," as he seemingly kills both of them with a single throw. He then takes on both Batman and so on and so forth. The crazy thing about this is, Darkseid wasn't even trying. Like, he had his hands behind his back the entire time he was fighting Kingdom Come and Earth Zero Superman, one-shotting every single Justice League member. Quite frankly, we could end it right here and you would get how much of a problem Darkseid is. But of course, this is just the beginning, friends, so let's continue.
But before we move on, we've all heard the phrase, "work smarter, not harder." Well, today's sponsor, Odoo, helps businesses do exactly that. Because when you're running a small business on the interwebs like I do, there's always a ton of day-to-day logistics involved behind the scenes that eat up time like a rabid animal. But thankfully, Odoo is there to help keep that beast on a leash. They're an all-in-one business management software that offers a massive range of integrated apps for businesses of all sizes, from CRM, sales, marketing, HR, accounting, inventory, point of sale, and more. And for a platform with so many features and options, I was shocked at how user-friendly Odoo really is. Everything is crazy easy to navigate and data integration is seamless. I'm talking scheduling, real-time inventory tracking, invoicing, payroll, you name it. And because all of Odoo's products work together, it saves me a ton of time, taking my efficiency to the next level and helping me make good decisions quickly. But here's the craziest thing. It's totally free. Yeah, you heard that right. $0. Your first Odoo app is free for life. Then from there, you can add any of their other apps on a paid basis as you need it. And they even give you a free 15-day trial for those. No credit card required, just crazy town. But don't just take my word for it. Click our link in the description and check out Odoo for yourself. And better yet, request a personal demo to get an even better understanding of how Odoo can make your business life easier and more efficient. Again, just click our link in the description.
Next, we have Constantine issue 23 from DC's New 52 continuity. In the issue, Darkseid admits to Constantine that he's consumed entire universes. Yeah, while Darkseid isn't necessarily known for consuming worlds or universes like Galactus, it's certainly not beyond his capability. For instance, when Constantine and Darkseid are at odds with one another, Darkseid just tosses Constantine to the side while saying, "This is a dead universe. This is one I have already consumed. There is nothing for me here," casually admitting he's consumed universes and doesn't want this one because it's dead. He already consumed it. Needless to say, consuming worlds or universes is insane and just pushes his god status that much more. But just because there's been a few instances like this one I'm using, this is not necessarily something Darkseid uses or is shown to do all the time. But he can, and there is examples of it, so it needs to be talked about. Now, if you weren't aware why Darkseid's Omega effects, such as his Omega beams, are so damn powerful, able to take out the likes of Superman, it's because the Omega effect is all about absolute control. And Darkseid can use this several different ways, such as erase people from time, teleport, trap beings in an Omega sanction, disrupt atoms, fundamentally alter matter, and even allow for time travel. And in Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey Ray issue 2, we see Darkseid use his Omega effect at the end of the issue on Cyborg Superman, saying the proton was useful while I recuperated. My powers are now at their peak. This farce must end. At which point, he blasts Cyborg Superman into nothing. Now, the normal Superman thinks Darkseid killed Cyborg Superman, but we find out in issue 3 via Darkseid that is not the case. As we see him say, "Come on, Darkseid, there is much more rebuilding to be done here." Darkseid replies, "True. Once mighty Apokolips is vulnerable, should an enemy attack?" Darkseid says, "Apokolips is not vulnerable. I have insurance. For in the small sphere rests the consciousness of the cyborg." Superman foolishly believes him dead. "But my Omega beams actually placed his life force here, where I might one day summon him and control him if necessary," as he holds up a small sphere. Yeah, Darkseid could take your soul and plant it into another object until he wants to bring you back to life and control you. That is absolutely insane. Being the god that he is, he can essentially take your soul, put it in purgatory, and keep you there for as long as he wants. Yet people still think that Thanos beats Darkseid. Now, another insane feat is from one of my favorite recent Justice League runs by Geoff Johns, which took place in the Justice League The Darkseid War. In the story, Darkseid goes up against the Anti-Monitor, essentially in a boxing match. I mean, they literally charge at one another like the opening sequence of X-Men the Animated Series. At which point, they start trading blows with one another, and as the heroes watch on, Wonder Woman narrates saying, "This isn't like any war we've ever experienced, caught between the two most evil and powerful entities in existence, the Anti-Monitor and Darkseid. The two begin to trade blows with one another as Darkseid puts his fists in the air and yells, 'Enough,' as he summons the Black Racer, with Darkseid's son Calibax saying, 'I smell it, death is here,' as Black Racer slashes the Anti-Monitor's stomach open with energy spewing everywhere. With the Anti-Monitor wounded, Darkseid takes advantage, grabbing him by the head, giving him an uppercut, and then blasting him from point-blank range with his Omega beams, telling the Anti-Monitor, 'Your existence is over.' But this is the Anti-Monitor, the dude who was the catalyst for Crisis on Infinite Earths and an entire continuity reset. So he's not going down easy, at which point he holds his hand out and tells the Flash, 'Being of speed, if it is to bend to my will, death needs a host.' As the Flash asks, 'What are you doing to me? I can't move,' as we see the Anti-Monitor merge Black Racer with the Flash. At this point, the Anti-Monitor now controls the Flash-Black Racer hybrid and sends him after Darkseid while saying to him, 'I was changed into this because I held what you want. I am forever bound to it. The anti-life equation is in my veins,' as we see him send Black Racer right through Darkseid's chest, followed by a massive energy blast. That's right, the Anti-Monitor kills Darkseid. But even though this wasn't a win for Darkseid, it was still incredibly impressive to go toe-to-toe, one-on-one with the Anti-Monitor and almost win. You gotta remember, it took the entirety of the DC multiverse to defeat the Anti-Monitor, and Darkseid almost did it by himself. Now, if you can believe it, these last two are the craziest feats of them all, and the next one up is when Darkseid single-handedly defeated probably the most powerful team in the DC universe, the Quintessence. The Quintessence consists of Ganthet, Hera, Highfather, Phantom Stranger, the Wizard Shazam, and the Spectre, God's Wrath. And at the very end of the Infinite Frontier Zero issue, we see Darkseid start talking to the Quintessence as he says to them, "Die." Wonder Woman and her ilk believe this to be a glorious new beginning, a new chapter, but it only brings them close to the finale. All stories always lead to me, the last chapter. I stood by as beings like you made me lesser than I am meant to be. Now reconstituted from my lesser forms, all my past aspects have become one, my true form. My power exceeds what it was before the first crisis. As we see Darkseid one-shot every single member of the Quintessence, he then steps on the body of Spectre while continuing to say, "It is time for the lower beings of creation to remember who they fear in their darkest hours, in their deepest moments of despair. The new multiverse is now infinite, but I am finite, I am final. Darkseid is the end." As we see Darkseid in his true form Darkseid as people like to call him, standing over the bodies of the Quintessence. Yeah, Darkseid took out Hera, Highfather, Phantom Stranger, the Wizard Shazam, and Spectre, the Wrath of God, all with one hit. It's literally one of the most insane feats we've ever seen from Darkseid, but getting even crazier than that somehow, the final one we have to mention today is what Darkseid has become as of DCKO. As we see on the first few pages of the issue, Darkseid has become something more than he's ever been. He is now King Omega Darkseid, and what this means is he's become something else, something more. He isn't just bigger, stronger, he's everything, a universe of power given form. That is literally a quote from the book. The book goes on to say, everywhere he looks, the city becomes him. Not his, it becomes him. Every particle, every molecule, every atom is now of Darkseid. He is more than a god. He is all godliness. He is all magic and sorcery. He also exists everywhere everywhere at once. He is omnipresent. We saw him in the Mascara, Gotham, the Rock of Eternity, and Oa all at the same time. And we see him destroy the entire universe in a future that already happened. But as we learn through reading DCKO, the heroes try to prevent this by essentially rewriting history. Essentially, Darkseid has become the ultimate being. The fact that he is literally just everything now and becomes everything is absolutely insane. I mean, he created the absolute universe. He's their King Omega and is going to use the absolute heroes as his horsemen to tear apart everything. I'm very excited to see what the series has in store and his feats, because a guy this powerful, man, that's universal. But there you have it, friends, several of Darkseid's most powerful moments. He's easily one of the most powerful characters in all of comics, and apparently he's just getting started as of DCKO, which is bringing him to unprecedented levels of strength. Let us know what you guys think of Darkseid down in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.